The warning was old, older than most wars in the galaxy. It was simple and clear. Do not attack the humans. Most species laughed when they first heard it. Humans were new, young, and still divided. They argued among themselves. They fought small wars on small worlds. They looked weak. The Galactic Council had written the warning after an old conflict. A short one. A conflict no one liked to talk about. The records were sealed. Only one line was public. They forgive once, but never twice. Commander Vrax of the Corthan Dominion did not believe in old warnings. He believed in power, numbers, and fear. His people were strong, tall, and armored. They had crushed many worlds before. Vrax stood on the bridge of his warship, looking at the blue human colony below. It was quiet, peaceful, and lightly defended. Farms, cities, lights. No large fleets, no heavy shields. Humans are overpraised, Vrax said calmly. They talk loud, but they break easy. Some of his advisors shifted uneasily. One of them spoke in a low voice. Commander, the warning from the Council. Vrax cut him off. Written by cowards who lost their nerve. Humans had their chance. They wasted it. The order was given. The first strike was fast. Orbital weapons fired in silence. Energy beams cut through the colony's defenses like thin glass. Communication towers fell first. Then power grids. Then the sky burned. On the surface, people did not even understand what was happening. One moment there was calm. The next, there was fire. Cities went dark. Ships in orbit were destroyed before they could move. The attack lasted only minutes. When it ended, the colony was broken. Not destroyed, but silent. Vrax watched the damage with satisfaction. Send the message, he said. Let Earth see what happens when they stand in our way. A single data burst was sent. Short, clear, and brutal. Images of the burning colony. Coordinates. And one line. This is your future. Then something strange happened. Nothing. No angry response. No threats. No fleets rushing forward. Just silence. Minutes passed. Then hours. Vrax frowned. Are they hiding? He asked. Trying to gather courage. His sensors showed no movement. Human space remained quiet. Too quiet. Far away, on Earth, the signal arrived. It passed through military channels. Government centers. Emergency networks. Human leaders watched without shouting. Without panic. Without speeches. Old files were opened. Very old files. Records of past wars. Battles erased from public memory. Enemies that once ruled stars. Now gone. No one spoke loudly. No one argued. Orders were given in calm voices. Across human space, things began to move. Ships that were not listed on public maps powered up. Stations that looked civilian changed shape. Satellites turned their eyes outward. To the galaxy, nothing looked different. That was the dangerous part. Back on the Corthan warship, Vrax grew uneasy. Scan deeper, he ordered. Find their fleets. The scanners showed little. Human technology was strange. Quiet. Clean. One advisor whispered. Commander, their signals are changing. Vrax turned sharply. What do you mean? They are not broadcasting fear. They are not calling for help. They are organizing. Vrax felt a cold sensation, something unfamiliar. Doubt. Suddenly, a single human message appeared on every Corthan screen. It was not loud. Not threatening. It showed no weapons. No armies. Just text, white on black. You were warned. Nothing else. No explanation. No countdown. The message ended. The bridge was silent. Vrax forced a laugh. Empty words, he said. They always talk before they fall. But deep inside, something told him this was different. Humans were not reacting like prey. They were reacting like something that had decided. Far beyond Cawthon space, human fleets continued to move. Slow, quiet, and unseen. The galaxy did not yet understand what had been set in motion. But it would. Very soon. The silence did not break. It grew heavier. Commander Vrax hated silence. In war, silence meant plans were forming. And plans meant danger. Track every human signal, Vrax ordered. I want movement, fear, noise. The officers worked fast. Screens filled with data. But nothing looked normal. Human space was not reacting like a wounded enemy. There were no emergency calls. No public panic waves. No begging messages to the Council. Instead, small changes appeared. Tiny shifts in energy use. Old cargo routes quietly closed. Civilian stations changing schedules. To most species, it looked harmless. To experienced warriors, it looked controlled. One Cawthon officer leaned closer to his screen. Commander, their trade ships are disappearing. Destroyed? Vrax asked. No, the officer replied slowly. They are docking at hidden locations. Vrax narrowed his eyes. Hidden from who? The officer hesitated. From everyone. Far away, human space was waking up. But not loudly. On an outer human world, an old shipyard came to life. Its lights had been off for decades. Now they burned bright again. Massive doors opened. Ships unlike any public design moved out. Dark, smooth, and silent. On another system, mining stations stopped mining. Their outer layers shifted. Weapons unfolded from metal shells. These were not new weapons. They were old. Tested. Improved. Humans did not rush. They never rushed when they were serious. Back on Earth, generals stood in a quiet room. No shouting. No anger. One officer spoke softly. They crossed the line. Another nodded. They always do. The order was short. Phase 1. Across human territory, fleets began to move. Not toward the enemy, but around them. Cawthon sensors picked up strange shadows. Signals that appeared and vanished. Ships that were there 1 second and gone the next. Phantom readings, an officer said nervously. Scanners can't lock on. Vrax slammed his claw on the command rail. Fix it. But the problem was not the scanners. It was the humans. Human ships did not announce themselves. They did not send threats. They did not chase glory. They studied. They measured. They surrounded. One Cawthon supply fleet vanished near a jump point. No explosion. No distress call. Just gone. Then another. Then a third. Panic began to spread quietly through Cawthon ranks. Commanders asked questions. Patrols doubled. Weapons were powered up. Still, no human fleet appeared in full view. Vrax tried to contact the Galactic Council. They are hiding something, he said. Humans are preparing an attack. The Council response was slow. Careful. They warned you, one counselor replied. You ignored it. Vrax ended the transmission in anger. Then came the first clear human action. A Cawthon defense station suddenly lost power. Its shields dropped. Its weapons went dark. Seconds later, a human ship appeared beside it. Not firing. Not threatening. The station commander tried to speak. But his systems were dead. The human ship transmitted one short message. Stand down. Before any reply could be sent, the station was disabled completely. Captured without a fight. News spread fast. Humans were not destroying. They were controlling. That frightened the galaxy more than fire ever could. On Vrax's bridge, fear finally showed. They are cutting our supply lines, an officer said. They know our routes. Vrax whispered to himself. That's impossible. But it was not. Humans had studied the galaxy for centuries. While others fought loudly, humans listened. A final message arrived from Human Command. Sent to Corthan military channels only. No insults. No threats. Just one line. This is still your last chance. Vrax stared at the screen. His earlier confidence gone. He understood now. The humans were not angry. They were disappointed. And disappointment was always followed by something far worse. The galaxy finally noticed the pattern. Human attacks were not random. They were perfect. Every Corthan ship that vanished had one thing in common. It was important. Supply, command, or communication. Humans were cutting the body apart, not striking the head. Commander Vrax stood before a shrinking star map. Red markers blinked out one by one. Each marker a lost asset. They are hunting us, one officer whispered. No, another replied quietly. They are studying us. That was worse. Vrax ordered a full fleet mobilization. All warships, form defensive lines. The Corthan fleet gathered in strength. Heavy armor, massive weapons. Enough firepower to burn worlds. They waited. Nothing came. Minutes passed. Then hours. The human fleet did not rush forward. They circled like shadows. Always just outside detection. Then the first ship lost power. Its engines died mid-flight. It drifted helplessly. Before help arrived, it vanished. Pulled into darkness by something unseen. Panic spread. Formation broke. Commanders shouted orders that no one could confirm. Vrax finally saw one clearly. A human ship slipped into view. Small. Silent. Unarmed on the surface. Fire, Vrax ordered. Every weapon locked on. Energy beams tore through space. The human ship did not dodge. It did not block. The beams passed through empty space. The ship was already gone. Murmurs filled the bridge. They were never there. Another officer shouted. Commander, multiple contacts. Dozens of human ships appeared at once. Surrounding the fleet. Above, below, everywhere. Still no weapons fired. Instead, Corthan systems failed together. Weapons shut down. Shields collapsed. Navigation froze. The fleet was blind. This is impossible, Vrax said. They didn't even attack. An officer replied in fear. They don't need to. Human voices filled the command channels. Calm. Clear. Corthan fleet, power down. Do not resist. Some captains obeyed. Others refused. Those who resisted vanished. Ships pulled apart silently. No explosions. No warning. The message was clear. Obey. Or be erased. Vrax felt his strength mean nothing. All his power useless. Then the truth arrived. A data packet forced itself onto Corthan systems. Old records. Ancient wars. Species that once ruled galaxies. Now extinct. The reason was always the same. They attacked humans. And attacked again. Vrax's hands trembled. So the warning was real, he whispered. Yes, a human voice replied calmly. We always meant it. Vrax demanded answers. Why not destroy us all? The reply came instantly. Because this is still mercy. That word broke him. Human ships began escorting disabled Corthan vessels away. Not as prisoners. As evidence. Across the galaxy, observers watched in silence. The myth of human weakness shattered. Humans did not conquer with noise. They conquered with control. Vrax understood too late. Humans were not fighting a war. They were ending one. And this was only the beginning. Fear moved faster than any fleet. Across the galaxy, worlds watched the Corthan collapse in silence. Once proud warships now drifting. Once loud commanders now quiet. But fear did not bring peace. It brought desperation. Commander Vrax refused to surrender fully. His honor was broken. But his pride still lived. They are watching us, he said slowly. Then we will force them to act. A final order was given in secret. A strike group split away. Small, fast, and filled with volunteers. Their target was unthinkable. Earth. The logic was simple and foolish. If humans feared for their home, they would rush. They would make mistakes. The fleet jumped. Human sensors noticed instantly. But no alarms rang. No emergency messages spread. On Earth, cities continued their daily rhythm. Lights stayed on. Ships landed and departed calmly. The Corthan strike group expected chaos. Instead, they found silence. Then space changed. Human ships appeared around them. Not dozens. Hundreds. They formed no formation. They did not block escape. They simply existed. "You are far from your supply lines," a human voice said calmly. "You are far from help." The Corthan commander shouted back, "We will burn your world." The reply was quiet. "You won't." Suddenly, the Corthan ships slowed. Engines failed. Weapons locked in safe mode. One ship tried to self-destruct. Its systems refused. Human control reached everywhere. Inside metal. Inside code. The strike group was frozen. Helpless. Ashamed. Back with the main fleet, Vrax watched the feed. His final gamble had failed. "This ends now," the human voice said. Not to the strike group, but to Vrax himself. Human fleets moved openly for the first time. No longer hiding. No longer silent. They advanced through Corthan territory. System by system. Target by target. But they did not burn worlds. They did not touch civilians. Military stations fell. Shipyards were disabled. Command centers went dark. Every strike was clean. Precise. Final. Corthan citizens watched their leaders lose control. Watched their weapons fail. Watched their empire shrink without fire. Rebellion followed. Generals blamed each other. Allies abandoned treaties. The Corthan dominion collapsed from the inside. Humans had not destroyed it. They had removed its teeth. Vrax was captured aboard his flagship. Not dragged. Not beaten. He was escorted. Treated with cold respect. In a quiet room, a human commander stood before him. No armor. No weapon visible. "You ignored the warning," the human said. "You attacked twice." Vrax lowered his head. "What happens now?" The human paused. "Now the galaxy learns." A message was sent. To every major power. Every council. Every border world. It showed the fall of the Corthan. Not in flames. But in silence. The message ended with one rule. Humans do not seek war. But we do not allow it to continue. Across the stars, fleets powered down. Borders closed. Plans were erased. The galaxy adjusted its behavior. Vrax understood his place in history. Not as a conqueror, but as a lesson. Humans had not taken revenge. They had enforced a boundary. And anyone who crossed it would not get a third chance. The war ended without a celebration. There were no victory speeches on Earth. No parades. No songs. Humans did not cheer when the Corthan dominion fell. They simply returned to their routines. As if the war had been a task. Completed. Commander Vrax stood inside a human holding facility. Not a cage. Not a cell. Just a room. Clean. Silent. Through a wide window, he could see Earth. Blue. Alive. Untouched. "This world should be afraid," Vrax said quietly. "Yet it sleeps." A human officer stood beside him. "Why would it fear?" "You defeated an empire," Vrax replied. "You broke us." The officer shook his head slowly. "No. We stopped you." That answer confused Vrax more than any weapon. Across the galaxy, the council met in emergency session. Not to argue, but to rewrite laws. New rules were added. Clear and permanent. No preemptive strikes against human space. No secret fleets near Earth. No military experiments near human borders. Every rule ended with the same line. Violation will not be debated. Former enemies sent quiet messages. Not threats. Not demands. Apologies. Trade routes reopened carefully. Borders were redrawn with respect. Old grudges were buried. Humans did not demand tribute. They did not claim territory. They asked for one thing only. Do not test us. On distant worlds, young officers studied the Corthan Fall. They noticed something chilling. Humans never attacked first. Humans never attacked loudly. Humans never attacked twice. Once was a warning. Twice was an ending. Vrax was eventually released. Returned to a broken people. He was not executed. That would have been mercy. He was allowed to speak. To tell the truth. And he did. Do not confuse their calm with weakness, he warned. They are not peaceful because they are soft. They are peaceful because they are controlled. Some listened. Some laughed. Those who laughed changed their minds later. Years passed. Then decades. Human ships became symbols of safety, not fear. When pirates appeared, humans removed them. When wars threatened, humans stood between. Always calm. Always watching. The galaxy learned to measure time differently. Before humans were tested. And after humans were understood. On Earth, the old warning remained archived. Still unchanged. Do not attack the humans. They don't give second chances. It was no longer a threat. It was history. And history had proven. Humans never lied about who they were.